Open Your Eyes is brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
And it's a beautiful Tuesday morning, Paul.
It is a beautiful Tuesday morning. The sun is up.
It is.
It woke up early ahead of me, I must say, and it got to shining, and I love that.
Yeah, but it's feeling a little bit cooler, I noticed this morning. So I'm hoping that it stays consistent. Crossing my fingers over here, but I'm hoping that you guys are starting your morning right. Whatever you're doing at this time, if you're already getting ready for work, or if you're probably at work already. I know that there's quite a few people like us that start their morning very early.
And speaking of the sun, I know it's not necessarily a planned conversation, but just to plug there that our thoughts and prayers are still with those fighting forest fires across the country, in San Antonio, in the Cayo district, in the Toledo district, down south. I know it's still an issue and a concern, and we're hoping for rain.
Yeah.
I think we're at this point where rain is the only solution, and so I just wanted to start the show by saying that, hey, our thoughts are with you guys, our prayers are with you guys. I know that there was a lot of flare-up yesterday in San Antonio. There was concerns about
a water pipe. Yeah.
I believe there was a bit of discussion about that on Monday, but that concern is growing because it seems as if the fire is reaching that water pipe, and an entire community could be without water. There is the El Hijo Pantin National Park that is now burning and on fire, and Isani Caetano did a really extensive story coverage of the issue over there in the Cayo district with wildfires. And then if you go down to Toledo now, you're hearing concerns coming out of San Marcos, you're hearing more concerns coming out of a lot of different communities. And so when you think that they've gotten over this situation, or that it is dying down, you just keep hearing of concerns, and these wildfires just keep popping up. Actually, I dreamt last night that it rained.
Really?
And this is not, I'm no prophet, so I'm not prophesying anything, but that was in the dream. I vividly remember being thankful for the rain because of those suffering from forest fires right now.
I was thinking to myself a couple days ago about the different rituals that the Mayas would have. And I was wondering, is there a rain dance somewhere in there that we could probably pull out and test out? But you're right, Paul. I think, and we also had, I think it was Minister Rakenya speaking about the only solution at this time is to get some rain. And of course, we are just a couple days shy of jumping into the hurricane season, June 1st. So we're hoping to, of course, not get extreme weather conditions like hurricanes or bigger storms, but we definitely do well with some rain.
Yeah, and I think this is the worst we've ever seen it, but when we pass this hump, the next conversation will be all about the rainy season, and it will be all about hurricanes. It's interesting, it feels like we live in a Hunger Games type of world where one moment you're going through all these forest fires and all the intense heat and drought, and then we're set to have what appears to be from the initially a record-breaking hurricane season.
Right.
So we're going to jump right into that as well.
Well, I think it's a result of the climate changing. And you'd know, Paul, that this isn't something that we are experiencing exclusively here in Belize. All over the world. For instance, I believe it was just reported yesterday that there was some irregular weather conditions in Mexico. They experienced hail. Now, we know hail to be kind of like droplets of ice, and it's not too much, at least. But there was a video circulating online of residents in Puerto Pueblo or something
Pueblo,
like
yeah.
yes,
Pueblo.
shoveling what almost looks like snow. I'm not sure if we're able to showcase that video at this time, but I can't imagine, one, how long it took for it to result to that amount, because this is like inches of ice on the ground. And these people, I mean, of course, we don't experience that type of weather conditions here in Belize, or I believe in Mexico. I mean, we're here in Central America, so obviously our homes wouldn't be equipped for something like that if we would experience those extreme changes from hot to cold. And that is exactly what actually caused this situation in Mexico. It was reports that they were having like triple-digit temperatures. It was over 110 degrees. And suddenly, it just started hailing. And as you can see there on the screen, that's snow. That looks like snow to me.
Look how compact it is, and look how much snow it is.
And people are now pulling out their sweaters after 110 degrees, Paul.
You would imagine that this was something that came as a shock to these residents. Thankfully, they seem to have their shovels prepared. But yes, they have been experiencing, especially in Mexico, an extensive heat wave, drought similar to what we're experiencing in Belize, and perhaps even more extreme in some areas. And in some strange act of nature, it began to hail. This was on May the 24th. So a few days ago, it began to hail, and just out of nowhere. And there was just last week, Sabrina, we were having a conversation about Mexico as well, and strong winds in the northeast that caused, unfortunately, several fatalities. And
yes,
so,
that's true.
Again, we're speaking about weather, we're speaking about wildfires, we're speaking about the upcoming hurricane season, and now in the heat wave, Mexico is experiencing hail. A lot of strange things happening with the weather, and what can we do but be observers of what is taking place, because we don't necessarily have control of the weather. I know there's some conspiracy theorists out there that might say, oh yeah, you got people where they control the weather and they got machines in the sky and whatever. I'm not one of them, and not to make light of the situation either, but a lot is happening with the weather across the world, and we're only touching here on what's happening in the region, and more so what's happening in Belize and Mexico at this time. But you can imagine, we've heard about floods in different parts of Europe as well, rains that we've
in the United States as well, they've been experiencing
tornadoes. Oh, the U.S. has been experiencing some intense tornadoes, and some loss of lives as well because of those intense tornadoes. They're talking about 5 to 6 tornadoes back to back in one area or 2 areas in particular. It's extreme and it's intense.
And of course, we do have Belizeans that are living in that part of the diaspora as well. So our thoughts are with everyone, of course, in Mexico at this time. We also spoke about some of the effects of their heat waves on their wildlife. We showed some pictures of parrots and howler monkeys falling to their death because of heat.
That's crazy.
So, of course, the only thing we can do at this time is all that we can, which is in the case if it's hot, stay as hydrated as possible, stay indoors if you can, and in the case of hail, well, I don't know. I don't know much about it, but that's about it on that side. But we do have some interesting photos that we wanted to share with our viewers that may be able to recognize a little bit way back when, Paul.
So it's a picture, or it's pictures from the past.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we'll
And I think it's fitting, especially the area that we are in right now.
Right, so we're in Old Belize, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our viewers back to Old Belize with some pictures that we actually found from the Belize National Heritage Society's Facebook page. I just want to shout out that page. For a while, it seems as if there's a very active community behind that Facebook page that's really interested and invested in the history of Belize and digging up old pictures and old documents and starting conversations from that page. So we have a few pictures. I don't know how much we'll go through, but this is the first one. Do you recognize this area, Sabrina? You could ask our viewers if they recognize this area. Can you tell me where that is?
I can't tell you the street, but I can tell you that it's in Belize City.
Oh, well, clearly, all of these are in Belize City, first of all.
It's in Belize City.
All right, so what area in Belize City? I see somebody have up their hand behind the camera like it's a classroom. What area in Belize City? I'll give you 2 seconds more, 3 seconds. If you can't, I'll have to tell you what
Okay,
it is.
tell me.
You want to tell you?
Yes, tell me.
This is North Front Street.
What?
Yes, so this is actually North Front Street. How do I, you see the little curve?
Yeah.
That little curve, that's where right now Spooner's and right by that curve before you reach the bump where the t-shirt factory used to be.
Oh my gosh, yes. So that would be around where the water taxi would be, the yellow building?
Yes, so you see that blue? That blue building right there, that's close
Oh, that's
to the
water
bridge.
taxi.
Yeah, I
okay,
think
so
that's
the
where
blue
the
blue
water
windows
taxi
would be where the water taxi would be.
is right
okay.
now, and then that's the
Oh
swing
my
bridge
gosh.
is right there. So this picture actually, according to the page, actually they didn't give a year for
Yes.
this picture, but look at that car.
Yeah, I think
Look at that car.
what
You
stands
can
out.
see yourself zooming through the streets of Belize City in a ride like that.
Absolutely.
Bling bling.
But what I want to point out, do you see that all the cars look really nice? They all look the
Really
same.
nice. Right, and they seem to be well built. I think this was a time when vehicles were really made durable and
Yeah.
strong. But clearly, I don't.
Can we
know.
make out what the business is with the sign at the top?
It says Zer.
I wonder what that
Zenith?
business was.
I think it says Zenith. I don't
But
know.
it's quite interesting.
Perhaps we have some viewers that are watching right
Yes,
now.
please let us know.
And they could tell us more about.
If you
some-
recognize Belize during this time.
Yeah. All right. So here's another one.
This
Can
is
you
also
recognize
this is
this
also
area?
around the swing bridge.
Right.
This looks like where the pedestrian crossing would be. And just over there, I think you can see the Holy Redeemer Church. Correct?
Okay, correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
no?
It's not,
That's
I don't know
not
if it's
it?
a Holy Redeemer Church.
We have guys behind the scenes saying, nope, that ain't it. They're all invested now.
So this area is actually right across from the swing bridge indeed. This is where Bridgefoot, where you know like the famous Bridgefoot tacos
yes.
and
Oh, yes.
all
Oh,
of
yes.
that
Oh,
stuff.
yes. This is
So
Bridgefoot.
the middle of the screen, that 2-story white wooden building, I believe it's no longer there. I think if you drive in that area, you'll just see an empty space in the middle.
What's on the far right? Can we
Okay.
get our
On the far
director
right?
to move?
That's left.
That's left. We want to know what that building is. There's a sign on it.
Okay.
Is that
It's a-
Travelers?
That's Travelers?
Yo, Travelers has been around for a very long time.
Is it,
Is
though?
that Travelers?
That is, so they were there, maybe it's an advertisement. But that's another interesting picture, a blast from the plaza. So this is the area coming off Swing Bridge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who the fellow is in the picture, but I love the way he's dressed.
Yeah.
He's just dressed really
Same.
nice, tucked in, a nice hat, walking
And that
on a
used to be
normal
the norm
day.
around that time.
That used to be the norm.
Yeah, that's
and-
how our grandparents dressed.
Right, and he has his bicycle. That's the mode of transportation.
All
And
right.
it's clearly a very busy area. Let's see if we
Yes.
could get
Next.
into the next picture before we move on. All right,
All
so
right.
this
Well, this
one
is more of an
is
aerial
a bit,
shot.
Yeah, more challenging for me. The page didn't necessarily indicate exactly where this is, but it stated that the picture was taken between 1909
Wow.
to 1914. So I see a bridge. I believe at the time there was only one bridge in the city, and that was the Swing Bridge.
Is that the courthouse over there?
That's the courthouse.
Yes.
Okay, the courthouse that we now know as the courthouse.
So that would be around Swing Bridge too.
All right, so yeah, look right
Interesting,
there,
wow.
zooming it in for us. That is the courthouse. So you have the courthouse there, and you have another structure beside
But that's interesting
the
if that's the courthouse, because that would be the back of the courthouse.
Yeah, right. So it's the
Yes.
back, and then the church right beside it. It makes
Yes.
a lot more sense.
Yes, because
now.
you'd see the coastline.
Yes,
So that
you'd
has
see
to
the
be the back.
coastline.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, an Anglican church,
Yeah.
right? And then that's a bridge. But what you see, Sabrina, is if you look in the background, what do you see? Green.
Yeah.
Green.
It wasn't very populated as yet.
It wasn't very populated. Belize City was just a lot of green and a lot of swampland as well.
That's true.
Let's move into
All
the
right,
next
moving on.
picture. See if we have any more. Do we have any more pictures?
We do. There's one that I wanted to.
All right, this one.
This
Can
one
you
I didn't know.
recognize this
I
area?
didn't know this until you told me this.
All right, so tell me, what area
So
is this?
this apparently is around where the lighthouse is, Marine Parade.
This is where the lighthouse is in Marine Parade. I mean, it's the picture says Marine Parade, but it's an actual area along Marine Parade. What we are looking at directly there, according to the Society's page, is where the Belize sign is. That's directly to the left of the picture, left of the screen, where Belize sign is, and where all that bush and trees are. That's where the animal park, what we know as the animal park. So that's directly across from the lighthouse, the Baron Bliss Lighthouse. So that area isn't a park at this at that point. It's just a forested area.
And it's also fenced off too.
And it's also fenced off as well. And so I don't know if there's a seawall for people to hang out.
It looks like it a little bit.
I don't see Don Ceviche out there right now, or ice cream spot. But that's from that old time.
Yeah,
So
all right.
that does it for our pictures this morning. I hope you enjoyed our pictures from the past.
Yes.
Old Belize, in Old Belize.
I'm hoping that persons would also been able to recognize a little bit of what was when they were younger too, because we know that we have quite a few viewers who enjoy our show, not only young but older too. So if you were able to recognize any of these locations, look at that there. I think there was also a graduation
I have
picture.
no idea where that is, but
that was in it too. Did you submit a graduation picture?
I did submit a graduation picture.
So I want to ask our director if he can pull up that graduation picture. So Paul, describe what that is.
So this is a graduation picture from SJC in 1959.
Wow.
65 years ago. You see how well dressed those guys are?
Yes.
And how nice they present themselves. So our grandparents or great grandparents are perhaps somewhere connected to this photo. So SJC.
Do you see any faces that might look a little bit familiar to you? It might be hard to make out.
The president of the college then was Father Raskowski, right? So he was the president at the time, but there goes another nostalgic picture. So pictures from the past, Old Belize, right here in Old Belize. I hope you enjoyed that, and leave some comments. Let us know if you recognize any of the pictures, any of the individuals, and if there's a little bit of fact you want to add to what we've said about what we've seen.
I'm trying to pull up because I was told that we do have some persons commenting on the pictures. So we might be talking about them a little bit later or at the end of the show, just to get you guys in on the conversation. But we also have a great eye-opener to keep you guys motivated. And of course, our eye-opener is taken from dailyom.com, and it goes like this. Always know the universe works in perfect order, and you are never given more than you can handle. Sometimes we may feel like there is just too much we need to do. Feeling overwhelmed may make it seem like the universe is picking on us, but the opposite is true. We are only given what we can handle. Difficult situations are opportunities to be our best selves, hone our skills, and rise to the occasion. The best place to start is to take a deep breath. As you do, remind yourself that the universe works in perfect order, and therefore, you can get everything done that needs to get done. As you exhale, release all the details that you have no control over. The universe, with its infinite organizing power, will orchestrate the right outcome. Anytime stress begins to creep up, remember to breathe through it with these thoughts. Keeping ourselves centered and breathing into and through life's challenges helps us learn that we are truly capable of doing, and we will find we have the ability to rise to any occasion. Remember, you aren't being picked on, and you are never alone.
Wonderful. That's our daily dose of positivity this morning for us all here in the studio, and for you, our viewers. We hope that you can soak that in as you get your day started. Sabrina, there's a couple of things we didn't mention that we have to go back and say. First of all, the fact that KTV auditions is coming up this weekend.
Paul.
That's
for everyone who's
weekend.
excited, including ourselves,
Yeah.
really, of course. June 1st and June 2nd. That's Saturday, June 1st and Sunday, June 2nd. Stop at our studios on Coney Drive where we will be having our KTV auditions. I believe it's 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. But really, we're inviting everyone to come out. If you enjoy singing, if you feel like you can really use those pipes professionally, also stop by too and test it out, because we really are excited about what this season has to offer. I know every year we try to make it a bit more exciting, a bit more interesting. And of course, who wouldn't want that big grand prize, Paul? $10,000. What?
And just to be clear, it's at the Channel 5 studio.
Yes, on Coney
Drive. At the Channel 5 studio, so don't go nowhere else but the Channel 5 studio if you want to audition. And then also, Sabrina,
this one's for the kids.
This one's for the kids. Summerfest is coming up. We usually schedule Summerfest for a bit later in the summer, midsummer, closer to the fourth quarter of the summer. But this time around, we're moving it up. So before you plan all your vacation and take the kids away, we're gonna have Summerfest this year on June 21st, I believe. At least it's in June.
Yes,
so,
June 21st.
So let me not give you an exact date.
It's June 21st,
so,
but the auditions are actually the very same weekend this weekend, which is June 1st and only June 1st. Only June 1st.
All right, so I am informed.
So we're
June
inviting
1st.
the kids who would like to also come out and show their talents with us to stop by at our studio on Coney Drive on June 1st. That's Saturday, June 1st. And of course, audition for our Summerfest. This is our way of giving back to the kids. Of course, there's a lot of things that these kids or family members, they walk away with, aside from just showcasing their talent. They walk away with goodies to take back to school. Some of them walk away with backpacks, school supplies. Yeah. So it's a really important event for us.
I wonder what would happen if a kid comes to audition for Summerfest and you realize their voice is just so good, we have to get them on KTV.
So we've actually had that before. I remember, I think it was like 2 years ago or maybe 3 years ago, there was this little girl that came and she sang like one of those harder songs that really tested the vocals, and she was so amazing, but this was like a kid, Paul.
So they had to feature her.
Yeah, so we just had to, so I think what happened, she came at the last show for KTV to showcase, you know, this is what we're looking forward to for the next probably 5 seasons away.
But anyways, let's not get off track. 2 auditions this weekend. June 1st and 2nd is for KTV. And then Summerfest is for June 1st.
All right. Well, guys, that does it for What's Buzzing. We do have to now move into our weather, though. We've been talking about it. It's been hot. We've also been experiencing wildfires. And this is irregularities that are taking place all over the region as well. So we do want to get that weather update from the folks at the National Meteorological Service.
Good morning. Hot and dry conditions will continue today, tonight, and tomorrow with little or no rain. This trend will continue Wednesday and Wednesday night. Winds today along the coast and over the open seas will blow from the east at 10 to 20 knots, and seas will be choppy. Low tides will occur at 6:39 this morning and 8:40 tonight. High tides follow at 12:51 this afternoon and 3:07 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 84 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 90 along the coast, and 101 inland. A heat alert will be issued at midday, and we continue to advise citizens to stay hydrated and avoid outdoor activities as much as possible. The moon will set at 9:55 this morning and the sun at 6:22 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, the chances of more sargassum mats affecting coastal locations remain high. In the fire forecast, the fire risk is high for today and will remain so on Wednesday. That's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
All right. Update sounds like it's going to remain pretty consistent, Paul. It's going to be warm. But of course, we do remind you guys to stay hydrated and stay indoors if you can. But we do want to jump into a little bit of a switch where we have some thoughts and concerns from our side, Paul. And this morning, I know that you do have something that you wanted to mention. So what do you have for us?
You know, we're laughing here, but it's not a laughing matter in a sense, Sabrina. One of the concerns that I have as a host and as a voice on the morning show is the fact that we've been seeing an increase in reports of child abuse across the country, whether it's physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse. We've seen an increase, and I know that we've had commentary from the NCFC,
the commissioner.
We've had commentary from the commissioner. We've seen commentary as well from the Ministry of Human Development, Families and Children. However, it seems that is as if it's every single week we're receiving reports of a 50-year-old, 40-year-old man abusing his authority, abusing his influence over these children's lives, of using his power, physical power, to either physically or sexually abuse a child. I believe last week we saw an incident where a man from Hopkins, I believe, employed at Hopkins, being charged for physically, sexually abusing a 4-year-old. We saw that viral video of that stepfather who physically abused his stepson. We know what happened with him, in that he was taken to court once again. And there's numerous occasions. We saw where an 18-year-old as well was accused of also sexually abusing a child. I think our children are in a vulnerable position right now, where it appears as if these men believe that they can do these sort of things in this day and age and get away with it. And honestly, my heart breaks for these children whenever I see these types of things happening. And I do believe that there's a cry out there for stricter penalties. There's a cry out there for justice to be served swiftly in these types of cases. And I just really wanted to add my voice to that cry. I wanted to say that that is in fact accurate. There does need to be stiffer penalties for these instances in order for us to see a decrease, because there definitely needs to be a decrease in these types of incidents. And so that's my concern for this morning, and I wanted to raise it out there, these types of men that feels emboldened and emasculated to hurt our children. This is our future, Sabrina. These kids are our future, and we don't need a nation more traumatized than it already is right now. These kids live with these types of things for the rest of their lives, and they still have to function in society. They still have to go to school. And we also need parents to be more aware. We need our parents to be more protective of their children. I know a lot of times parents are out there doing their best, trying their hardest to work, to provide for the kids. In a lot of these homes is single mother families. And so they can't be everywhere all the time. And I think predators take that as an opportunity when they study the schedules of these parents to see when they're monitoring, when they're not monitoring, so that they could pounce and carry out these heinous acts. So while I can't fault parents 100%, I do believe that as parents there is a need for greater awareness in this area to understand where your kids are, who your kids are with, in order to do your part in protecting your children. But that's my concern.
I think about the instance where we had the Commissioner of Police, Chester Williams, here sharing that he wished that the Belize Police Department would have been aware about the instance of the individual who physically abused his stepson, but him taking the initiative and ensuring that that case took or had a second look at it, which would ultimately result in that person being taken to court again, and now being at the Belize Central Prison, where he was once out on bail, or he was before out on bail. So I'm hoping that we can have more examples of that, where we can showcase that Belize has absolutely no tolerance for abuse in any of its forms, whether it's physical, sexual, emotional, and of course not only for kids as well, but for adults too. I just think it's a lot harder knowing that it takes place with kids, because that's a different type of abuse, Paul, where you can't even defend yourself or fight back. So I do agree with you in everything that you mentioned.
Where the age gets older, a bit still children, but where it gets older, parents also have to be willing to listen to their kids and believe their children when they say, hey mommy,
when
hey,
they say
daddy,
the first time,
this has happened to me, when they say it the first time. And you wouldn't believe that a lot of times, and I'm not casting shade at any one organization or institution, but a lot of the times it's within the institutions that we trust, whether it's a school. We've seen cases in schools, one case in a school recently, or even in the church. Predators exist everywhere. So don't for a moment as parents or even as guardians believe that, oh, because it's at church, that everything fine and dandy, or oh, because it's at a school, that everything fine and dandy. A lot of people would argue that that predators find refuge in the church because of the philosophies and the ideals that they have. And again, this is not me pointing fingers at any one organization, just to warn or to advise parents to listen to your children, and if nothing else, investigate these sort of complaints or investigate these sort of reports coming from your kids, because they do exist. We could never be too aware or too alert or too concerned in this day and age, and it's a good thing to see that our justice system, if nothing else, is taking this matter seriously.
Absolutely. Well, Paul, thank you for your contribution as relates to your thoughts and concerns on certain situations taking place here in Belize.
This is a matter of national importance.
Absolutely.
Upon the adjournment.
All right, moving now into our show lineup. As we mentioned, we have 3 great conversations to look forward to. But starting things off, we will be joined by the BNTU's new president to talk to us about her plans for the union.
In our second segment, we will be talking about the National MSME Roadshow.
And in our final segment, we'll be talking to the delegates for the Queen of the Bay Belize Rural Pageant set to take place this weekend. But Paul, we have, again, 3 great conversations to look forward to. But we got to take that first break, and when we come back, we'll be having the first, I believe, sit-down with Nadia Kaliz, the current BNTU president. So stay with us. We're going to take that quick break, and when we come back, the conversation continues.
What if I told you that your singing talent can earn you $10,000? And what if I told you that you can stop singing in the shower and sing live on one of the biggest stages in Belize?
Let's go! I'm gonna love you forever.
Still not sold? Well, what if I